Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on your YouTube channel. This is the platform to take your English to the next level and sound like native speakers. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you some phrasal verbs and also a couple of words that you can use to say someone is wasting their time, someone is doing nothing important, nothing in particular, someone is just wasting their time and doing nothing. Are you ready? Of course you are, which is why you're here watching this video. So let's get started. The first phrasal verb that we can use to say someone is doing nothing important or is just wasting their time and is not doing anything important is the phrasal verb fool around. Fool around. Fool around. Fool around. Fool around. When someone fools around, they just waste their time and do nothing. They just behave in a silly and a stupid way, in a way that shows they don't want to do anything serious. They're just, doing nothing. They're just wasting their time. They're not doing anything with the purpose of achieving anything positive or anything important, and they're just wasting their time. So when someone fools around, they just waste their time and do nothing important or nothing particular or nothing significant. I'm going to give you two examples. The first one, stop fooling around and finish your homework. Stop fooling around and finish your homework. Stop fooling around and finish your homework. Stop fooling around and finish your homework, which means you got to stop wasting your time and doing unimportant things. Instead, focus all your attention and time on finishing your homework. Do something positive and finish your homework. All right, the second example. Children usually love to fool around all day long. Children usually love to fool around all day long. Children usually love to fool around all day long. Children usually love to fool around all day long, which means children usually like to spend their time doing nothing, like to waste their time around the house, like to wander about the house aimlessly, doing nothing. They just like to waste their time and do unimportant or do nothing in particular. So children usually love to fool around all day long. All right, now let's move on to the second phrasal verb that we can use to say someone is doing nothing important and is just wasting their time, which is to goof around. To goof around. To goof around. Yeah, this is similar to the previous one. The only difference is instead of fool, we use goof. Goof around. To goof around. To goof around. When you goof around, you just do nothing. You just waste your time all day long. You behave in a silly, ridiculous, and stupid way that results in wasting your time and doing nothing important. Two examples. The first one. We goofed around at the mall instead of shopping. We goofed around at the mall instead of shopping. We goofed around at the mall instead of shopping. We goofed around at the mall instead of shopping, which means we just wasted our time at the mall by wandering about the mall aimlessly and doing nothing. We just wasted our time at the mall and did nothing important. The example number 2. Don't goof around during the meeting. Don't goof around during the meeting, which means do not do anything unimportant or do not waste your time during the meeting. Try to stay focused on the meeting. Try to do something important and positive or something constructive. All right, now let's move on to the third phrasal verb that we can use to say someone is just wasting their time by doing nothing important, which is to miss around. 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 When someone misses around, they goof around, they fool around, they behave in a silly and ridiculous way, in a way that results in wasting their time, wasting the time of other people, and doing nothing important or doing nothing significant. So, to miss around. Two examples. The first one. He enjoys messing around in the kitchen. He enjoys messing around in the kitchen. He enjoys messing around in the kitchen, which means he enjoys wasting his time in the kitchen and he enjoys doing nothing important, doing nothing particular in the kitchen. He just, walks around the kitchen, wanders around the kitchen aimlessly and does nothing important, just wastes his time. The example number 2. We spend the afternoon messing around with old photos. We spend the afternoon messing around with old photos. We spent the afternoon messing around with old photos. We spent the afternoon messing around with old photos. We spent the afternoon messing around with old photos, which means we spent the afternoon doing nothing, just wasting your time and, just having a look at some old photos and doing nothing in particular. All right, now let's get to the next word that we can use to say someone is just wasting their time by doing nothing important, which is the verb idle. Idle, idle, idle. The verb idle, idle. When someone idles, they waste their time by doing useless things or unimportant things, or by doing nothing important and nothing significant. They just, do all that they're doing or all that they do aimlessly. So, to idle. Two examples. The first one. She idled in the house for 3 hours, then went to bed. She idled in the house for 3 hours, then went to bed. She idled in the house for 3 hours, then went to bed. She idled in the house for 3 hours, then went to bed, which means she wasted her time in the house by doing nothing important, then went to bed. The example number 2. He never takes life seriously. He always likes to idle and enjoy himself. He never takes life seriously. He always likes to idle and enjoy himself. He never takes life seriously. He always likes to idle and enjoy himself. He never likes to take life seriously. He always likes to idle and enjoy himself, which means he never likes to do anything serious in his life or make serious decisions about his life. He never likes to take his life seriously. He just likes to waste his time by doing unimportant things, or he just likes to waste his time by wandering, around the house aimlessly, or by just, spending time with his friends aimlessly. Doesn't want to do anything important in particular. All right, now let's move on to the next phrasal verb that we can use to say someone is wasting their time by doing unimportant things, which is to loaf around. To loaf around. This is similar to the previous phrasal verbs like to goof around, to mess around, to fool around, but this one is to loaf around. To loaf around. When you loaf around, you waste your time by doing unimportant things. Two examples. The first one. He spent the weekend loafing around the house. He spent the weekend loafing around the house. He spent the weekend loafing around the house. He spent the weekend loafing around the house, which means he spent the weekend doing nothing important, or he wasted his weekend, he wasted his time on the weekend by doing nothing important or nothing in particular. The example number 2. They loafed around the park all afternoon. They loafed around the park all afternoon. They loafed around the park all afternoon, which means they spent their time doing nothing important all afternoon. All right, let's move on to the next way of saying someone is just wasting their time, which is to laze around. To laze around. To laze around. When someone lazes around, I think this phrasal verb itself clearly suggests what it means. When someone lazes around, they spend their time in a lazy way. They behave in a lazy way, in a way that results in them wasting their time, doing nothing important, achieving nothing important, and doing something that produces no positive result or nothing significant in particular. So, to laze around. We lazed around on the beach all day. We lazed around on the beach all day. We lazed around on the beach all day, which means we spent our time in a lazy way all day on the beach. The example number 2. She likes to laze around on Sundays. 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 She likes to laze around on Sundays, which means she likes to do nothing in particular on Sundays. She likes to behave in a lazy way by resting, relaxing, putting her feet up, and enjoying herself on Sundays. She doesn't want to do anything in particular. She just likes to waste her time and do nothing important on Sundays. All right, let's move on to the next way of saying someone is wasting their time by doing nothing important, which is to fritter away time. To fritter away time. To fritter away time. to fritter away time. When you fritter away time, you waste all your time by doing nothing important, by doing nothing, or by just goofing around, fooling around, by doing ridiculous and stupid things, or by doing silly things that result in achieving nothing important. So, to fritter away time. Two examples. The first one, she frittered away time on social media. She frittered away time on social media. She frittered away time on social media, which means she wasted a lot of time by spending a lot of time on the internet or on social media by just surfing the net and doing nothing important. So she frittered away time on social media. The second example, children frittered away time on playing video games. Children frittered away time on playing video games. Children frittered away time on playing video games. Children frittered away time on playing video games, which means children wasted a lot of time by playing video games. Children did nothing important and just lazed around by playing video games. And finally, we move on to the last phrasal verb that you can use to say someone wastes their time by doing nothing important, which is the phrasal verb of to muck about, to muck about, to muck about, to muck about. When someone mucks about, they laze around, goof around, mess around, loaf around, waste a lot of time, and do nothing important, or don't do anything important. So, to muck about. Two examples. The first one, the children were mucking about in the garden. The children were mucking about in the garden. The children were mucking about in the garden. The children were mucking about in the garden, which means the children were doing nothing important in the garden. The children were just wasting their time in the garden. The second example, they mucked about instead of cleaning the rooms. They mucked about instead of cleaning the rooms. They mucked about instead of cleaning the rooms. They mucked about instead of cleaning the rooms, which means they just wasted a lot of time. They wasted all their time instead of cleaning the rooms. Rather than do something important, something useful, they wasted all their time by doing nothing important, by just lazing around, goofing around, fooling around, and messing around. Alright guys, that's about all. So in today's video, you learned all the phrasal verbs and words that we can use to say someone is just wasting their time and is not doing anything important. So what I want you to do is like this video if you enjoyed watching it, which you absolutely did. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and leave a comment down below. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell in order not to miss any of my future videos. I'll be back soon.